Welcome to Screw the Script, the podcast for women rewriting the rules in their 30s. This is the very first episode, and it's one that's deeply personal for me and for so many of us, the mother-daughter dynamic. The mother-daughter bond is unlike any other. It can be beautiful, grounding, and full of love, but also tangled in expectations, unspoken pain, and emotional distance. In this episode, I sit down with the woman who birthed me, my mother. We talk honestly and openly about the journey we've been on as mother and daughter, from our generational wounds to our moments of disconnect and the healing we're still working toward. This conversation is raw and real. We talk about control, emotional support, abandonment, and the quiet hopes we both carried but didn't always know how to express and still don't know how to express. If you've ever struggled to find your voice in your relationship with your mom or as a mom yourself, this one is for you. Because being a daughter and becoming a mother changes everything. And sometimes the most transformative conversations are ones we were never taught to have. Welcome, and let's screw the script. Hello, Mother. Are you ready for this conversation we're about to
Oh,
have?
actually, I do feel honored that you did ask me to do
Of
this.
course, I definitely wanted you on this podcast, and I thought that since it's Mother's Day, it would be a great time for us to have a conversation and share our journey as mother and daughter. And with that, I think it would be a great place to start when you became a mom for the first time. And what was your script? What were you curating as your script being a first time mom?
Well, this is very emotional for me because based on my relationship with my mother and the relationship that I wanted to have with you, all the questions and it's just, I felt like I wasn't ready to be a mother. So I had reservation about being a mother at first. And then when I accepted that I am going to be a mother, I just thought at that moment that there must have been a time that my mother had loved me because I didn't feel any love from my mother. I just finally come to me that there must have been a time that my mother had loved me.
What you shared there is something that I think a lot of us feel, but we don't necessarily say out loud. That motherhood can stir up parts of our own story we didn't even know were still unresolved. And that moment of connection and creating life seemed to have, really opened up something for you and changed the way that you saw your own mom, even if love wasn't necessarily spoken to directly to you. So what did motherhood look like for you in the decade of 30 with your second child being pregnant again compared to when you were first pregnant with me?
I felt more prepared. You were the first one, so a lot of things was by learning through trial and error. Actually, there's a lot of things that happened. I got my driver's license and I went back to school. In my 30s is when I was trying to figure out what is it that I want. What is it that I want for me so that I can build a life. So in my 30s is when I was trying to figure out how to like move out of the Bronx, how to get a house, how to get my education. And so that was in my 30s. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, our relationship hasn't necessarily been smooth sailing. And I think it's a good time for us to just reflect on how our dynamic has been over the years. If we could like restart our relationship, what do you think you would want to do differently or the same?
Before it was pretty much me like in that control mode, live my life through you or tell you more like have an expectation of what you should do or be. Now to change it around, like that was what I would have just maybe allow you to make your choice, to be okay with your choice with how you do things and like moving to Europe.
Yeah, I felt like you weren't really supportive of that. Like you were, but then when I was here, and obviously it's not easy, like not everything, every point of it is great. And yeah, I mean, I had an idea of what it was going to be like, and I had somewhat of a plan, but obviously not every single part of the plan works out. And when I would come to you or like wanting to have that emotional support, because I think obviously like as a child gets older and like the dynamic of a mother daughter relationship, it evolves over time. Like I think in the beginning, obviously what I'm looking for in you is, love, shelter, food, like pretty much a whole, you're being my person that I depend on in every aspect. And then going into adolescence, it's like kind of rebelling against that and figuring stuff out on my own and like testing. And then in my 20s, it was more of, okay, I'm out of the house. I was raised with like very high expectations of myself from you and dad. Like, I think more so on you as far as the like role and responsibility and who I needed to be and what I needed to deliver. And it was just nothing but like the best and excellence and, having everything put together.
And looking back, what I wanted and what I needed was a mom that was there that I could go and talk to about the struggles that I had, or just when I was in my 20s, I just felt like I couldn't go to you for that. I felt like that's what I needed, and you weren't able to provide that. So I was left with, okay, then what is our relationship then at that point? I didn't really know. And so I felt like I just couldn't go to you. I couldn't tell you how I was feeling or the stresses that I was having or what I was experiencing in the difficult times, because I just felt like you weren't able to be that support system that I needed at that time.
Right, right.
So that's where I think our disconnect started to really
Yeah,
like change the dynamic of our relationship
yeah.
where
After your second year of college, you said, Mom, just so you know, I won't be coming back home. I mean, that kind of like really, it, it was very hard for me. That was hard for me when you said that. I'm not coming back home.
mm,
Or even when you decide to move to Europe, I'm like, you sure you want to do that? I felt like so what was coming up for me was like this abandonment thing that I went through as a kid. And I just felt like you were just like abandoning the family. That was my own interpretation and my own feeling that was coming up from me, that you just wanted to have nothing to do with the family and you were going away. Like, wow. And I could see is like all of a sudden my life was repeating itself again through my
mm.
mother and myself.
I was actually just going to say, it was like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a full circle moment of what maybe the
Yes.
scripts that you were like trying so hard not to repeat or like,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
then,
And I'm like, I had you the same age she had me.
mm,
And, there was a lot of similarity, a lot of similarity. And now it even start reflecting on me. Like I see so much more and a lot of things that in my, like you were doing. And I said, oh my God, it's like I did these things and worse to my mother, which bring me to like a level of humbleness towards you. All of a sudden I realized I was worse. And what you're doing, you're just like want to be independent and doing stuff on your own, going out on your own and doing whatever. And for me, I didn't even feel like you were asking me for help. When you were in school, you never asked me for money. You rarely ever asked for anything. I could say with both of you guys, you never asked for anything.
well, that's because you also like instilled in us if we wanted something, we needed to go and work for it. Like, not something like the necessities, but
Yeah.
like, and it was funny because I was telling my friends, and I tell this story all the time about like, I wanted Keds. Remember the Keds
Yes,
shoes?
yes.
And I wanted them so bad. They're these like canvas, white
Yeah.
sneakers. They had, a logo on the back of the heel,
Uh,
And you were like, okay, so I don't know, you probably got some similar looking ones at Payless, which was like a old discount shoe store. And
Yes.
you glued the word kids on the back. So I think for me, it was always if we wanted something that was out of the necessities, we had to go out and work for it.
The relationship that I had with my mother, I really didn't have a relationship with my mother. I only spent a couple of months before my mother passed away. When she came
Mm,
here, you guys met her for the first time. That was
mm.
the first time I had a relationship with my mother for 4 months. And I was in my 30s. I was like probably 35, 36. And she came here, you guys met her. She spent 4 months here. She went back and then she passed away the following year. That was it. But that was the 4 months of a lifetime that I can say that I had the closest I've ever been to her or felt I had a mother, like a real mother. I mean, we shared a lot of things within that 4 months.
I wanted the emotional support. And since you were able to provide that for
Right.
me, I was thinking, yeah, what is a mother daughter relationship supposed to be? I think that was it. And that was something that I was trying to figure out and still figuring out now, even
Mhm.
that I have kids and like you're the grandmother to my daughters, but you're still my mom. And what kind of support is needed now? And then also, like, what kind of relationship aside from the kids do we have?
Well, I feel that since I start doing a lot of inward work on myself and changing how I want to show up, I feel that it's doing something. I'm hoping that it changes the way how you see me as a mother, and it changed for me the way I see you as a daughter. So now I feel like for myself, now I feel like I'm a little bit less judgmental, less controlling. I feel like I'm more allowing myself to just accept everything as is without trying to control so much. And as far as you, I see you as it's like so similar. I see that now. Even with you raising your kids, and
I'm not as strict as you are.
no, you're not as strict, but you're still strict. So I am allowing you to be and do whatever it is that in your mind, how you can provide for your kids.
What type of mother-daughter relationship do I want us to have? And I see the value and the importance of having you in my life as my mom and the grandmother to my daughters. That is at least what's like keeping me motivated to improve our relationship.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, I want to be in your guys' life.
We
Uh,
want that too.
So, yeah, I'm feeling so sorry that we didn't have a closer relationship. Like I said, when I had you, you were like, was going to be this one person in my life that I can love. And who's going to love me? I just want you to know, I don't know if I have told you many times, but there was a time that every day I used to tell you that I love you. And you used to say to me, Mom, every day I'm going to tell you that I love you.
I did have a closeness growing up with my family, and you being my mom, I never felt that you were never not there, but I think it was just the way in which you were expressing the feelings was not weird to me, but I back then I didn't know how to explain that it just didn't
Mhm.
come off as genuine. And I think that now as I've gotten older and also like doing therapy myself, I've realized you didn't have a chance to really work on filling that void within yourself. And like you were coming from a place of like emptiness. So to try to
Yes.
come up with like
Mhm.
filling someone else from a place of also like deficit already, it's like you're drawing from places that aren't really like the source of who you are. And so for me, like growing up, it just felt like forced. It felt not like authentic. I don't know. It not that I never questioned that you didn't love me. It was just more so like it was just like too much. I don't know how like it was stifling
Mm.
sometimes. What's one thing you wish we had talked about sooner?
Well, I wished I had presented Jeffrey in a different way because now I see the relationship how important, like I have two people in my life that I love, and I feel if I had done it differently, maybe, I don't know, sometimes things happen in our life because it's supposed to happen.
What is your hope for mothers and daughters listening to this episode?
Not to give up as a mother, not to give up on your kids, not to give up on your daughter. My mother used to say that. She said, when even though I didn't see her for 20 years, when I saw her, she said all she kept praying. She kept praying that one day we would get to this point where we can let go and just move forward. And that is one of the things that I kept holding on to, that not to give up, not to give up and keep praying and hoping that one day we're going to get to that point where as mother and daughter, we can see eye to eye on things and what it feels like to be a mother yourself of two girls. Like I am a mother of two girls, and my mother is also of two girls, and her mother had two girls. It's all related, and I see the generation, and I see how everything tie in together and the wound that we carry from generation to generation. So us having this talk and you having this podcast help to change and to change the dynamic and change the script for your kids. So I find this to be really helpful.
So, what script are we screwing today?
Just be okay with everything and give it time, and time will take care of. Just be okay with the uncomfortable. Just be okay with whatever it is that we both as mother and daughter going through. Just be okay with it, like without any expectation. Like I'm choosing not to have any expectation of how this relationship is going to be, as far as, however it show up, whatever show up, I'm okay with it. It's just being okay. It's finally being okay.
So, before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to reflect. Every episode of Screw the Script ends with a segment I call Rewrite to Resilience. It's where I share a personal takeaway, an insight, a shift, or a truth I'm still sitting with. Because rewriting the script doesn't always look like big life changes. Sometimes it's just a quiet revelation, a deeper understanding, or the courage to see things differently. Having this conversation with my mom wasn't easy. And honestly, you can probably hear it. I held back. We've gone back and forth in the past, and usually in the heat of the moment, with emotions high and voices raised. But this time, we had a conversation with intention. To say things we've both felt, but it was always the wrong place, the wrong time, and there just wasn't any space to really get into the issues we have, because as you know, it's easier just sweeping things under the rug. So during this conversation, as she was talking, I had a realization. My mom is a daughter too, but I had never really thought about it like that before. The emotional support I've longed for from her all these years has probably been the same thing that she was longing for from her mother. Realizing that brought a kind of clarity. I mean, we're not going to erase the past, and we're probably not going to be texting each other heart emojis every day, although my mom would probably want that. But I do think we're finding a new rhythm, one with more mutual understanding, one where we see each other more fully, not just as mother and daughter, but as two women doing the best that we can with what we've been carrying. And that to me is the beginning of our new script. It's not about fixing everything, but about softening the edges and finding a little peace in the process. Now that's resilience. Thank you for joining me for the very first episode of Screw the Script. If this conversation resonated with you or stirred something up within you, you're not alone. Let's keep building this space together. Follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you've got a story or experience you want to share, send me a note at screwthescriptpod@gmail.com or find me on Instagram and TikTok at screwthescriptpod. This is just the beginning, and we're doing it our way. Let's screw the script together.